Hello everybody, this is Show here. Now, whenever we last left off, Deku had just awakened a version of All for One's quirk, and discovered that he can stockpile up to 3 different people's quirks. Now, with that being said, let us pick up from there. Along with the fact that Deku was actually encountered by government agents, or agents who came to him, wanting to talk with him. A whole fiasco has gone down, and I will explain that after deciding the fate of the series. Someone asked me if this was going to be a heroes series, or a villain one. So I thought, what better way to decide it than with the flip of a coin. Alrighty everybody, now, the results are going to be villain. Now then, with that being said, that does mean I'm going to change where I was going to take things. Now, let's pick up at, well, Deku's home, or I believe it was back at his school with the government agents. So, let's pick things up there. These government agents are here, and they want to know exactly where the boy is that has this weird ability. The teacher is somewhat just saying that she can't really let them see him. They are not one of his caretakers or one of his parents. The men basically just saying that they are actually, well, looking to talk to his parents. They need his help with a little bit of a program, or things that their bosses believe that this boy's quirk would be perfect for. Along with the fact that All Might, he's actually been informed already. The woman a bit confused, as All Might would walk up. Now, the woman would be immediately in shock, somewhat screaming All Might from outside of the building. A lot of kids running outside, and seeing him out there. Deku somewhat just pointing and saying that he told them that he met All Might. He just didn't have his picture today. He had left it at home and, well, was trying to get it laminated or something. He's not really sure what the right word for it was. But he just knows that it will make sure that the picture doesn't get burned or, well, ruined. Now, All Might would just say that he is on the line, or, well, at least talking with Inko, the boy's mother. And she has allowed me this specialized pass to take the boy on a bit of a field trip. All Might basically showing her the identification, her talking with Inko and finding out that it's actually okay, as they would leave. All Might would help Midoriya get into a car, and they would be on their way there, or on their way to a building. As they are waiting, Deku just asking All Might questions, and All Might trying to give him answers. This is before his attack, or well, his raid on All For One the first time. In fact, he was planning on doing so soon, but the boy sort of popped up out of nowhere. Now, along with that, Deku, he's really excited, but confused when they pull up to a building that seems to be very, well, heavily guarded. All Might basically explain that this is a prison, where they bring villains. Deku a bit taken aback. Kinda confused as why they're going to allow him near villains. He is not a hero yet. He still needs to, well, go through schooling and being taught everything. All Might turning around, and actually taking a knee, before telling Midoriya that he understands. Now, your mom won't be here soon. She is actually picking up your dad. Deku actually a bit excited. He didn't realize his dad was coming home today. And he's really happy. as All Might would just say that they are being given special access to this place. And one other thing. You can't be a hero and take away the quirks of your allies if you need them in battle. In fact, you will have to rely on your own power. Or, well, sorry to say this, but the power of the villains. The government has approved of something that was rather unorthodox. If a villain should keep their quirk when they die. All Might, somewhat confusing Deku. Someone bringing his hands up saying that some of these villains have done very, very bad things. Some of them, they are deemed irredeemable and given punishment. So, we actually do have a bit of a test for you today. There are two people here, and you can go over the quirks. You will only be allowed to see them once, since we are not sure exactly how the process will affect you. And we don't want to give you too many quirks at too many times, since that could prove to be harmful to your body at such a young age. All Might just thinking about this. This is rather unorthodox, but still, it needs to happen. If the boy is going to fight against All For One day, I can deem him to be my successor. But that's just it. If his quirk mixes with mine, what exactly would that make? No. Don't even think about that, Toshinori. Do not make this young man your successor. He will have too many quirks as it is. Now, Deku would somewhat be reading these folders, as his parents would run in. Seeing that Deku is okay, and he's seeing what these men, well, their quirks are. One of them has a portal quirk, as they call it, while the other has a weird form of hardening. Now, with that being said, Kevin Vasquez, you had an idea for Deku to have a hardening quirk. Well, I kind of took it one step further. Kevin 11's power. Any surface he touches, he can mimic his body can mimic the texture of, and it's just as strong. Touch steel, you turn into steel. Touch rock, you turn into rock. And I have picked it, and modified it a little. Along with that, the other person's quirk is a dimension quirk. It is actually one I saw while browsing the fandom app. Now, Deku, his parents are looking through these, and thinking. Deku, he's a bit excited about this, but still he seems to be a bit weird about it. Someone thinking about the dimension thing. That sounds really cool and exciting, but it's not really a good idea, since if he doesn't control it properly, Hisashi just saying that, then the boy might end up somewhere he's not supposed to be. As he would turn to All Might, staring up at him, somewhat maintaining a stone face, saying, "I'm sorry, All Might, but I understand your concern. I'm somewhat unaware of it, but my son, his quirk. Do you really think that this would be a good idea? Giving him villain quirks? Who authorized this?" All Might just staying quiet. He's not really sure of who the person was, but he was told that, in joint with the hero agency, this would be a good idea. Since the boy might go on a bad path, and create another All For One. And they don't need two of them running around the world. So it was approved of. Now, with that being said, All Might would try to explain it, saying that this is a, well, good idea. He is sorry, Mr. Midoriya, but your young child, his quirk, he may get, well, bullied or quite possibly even belittled because of it. His quirk is very powerful. The potential is there, but his quirk on its own is, as he would somewhat lean forward, saying useless, bringing his hands up, saying that its main ability is to stockpile other quirks. Without another one there, it's basically just a mutation. Like like my friend David's, extra bend in his hands. He made use of that mutation very well, but that was different. As Hasashi would just state that if that's uh, if that's the case, then well, I guess he could do this and be a good hero too. Inko somewhat turning to Hasashi, asking him if he's really serious about this. Him just turning to her and saying that if it stops his son from becoming a villain, then I'm sorry, Inko. Please, just understand. Besides, I can help. I can give him my quirk. How many can he stockpile? He can stockpile 3. Okay. So, I guess he can, well, I don't really use my quirk a lot either. Inko just speaking up. All Might's a bit actually surprised. Parents who are willing to give up their quirks for their child's. That's noble. As Awful One is somewhat thinking about this, play a good hand, and make sure your son can choose the power. As Deku would, well, come walking back into the room, asking exactly what is he gonna do now. Hasashi basically sitting down and explaining to Deku what these guys' quirks are. One of them can hop through dimensions, or, well, create portals, as they call it. The place he goes to is unknown, though. They haven't gotten any information out of him, so it might be very dangerous to use. But, well, you have the other person's quirk. Him bring up the picture of the man, saying that it is actually hardening. And it seems like it would be a better choice. Think about it. You can harden to any surface you touch. You're always near concrete, cement, and as a hero you will be near other substances. So it could actually be a perfect fit for you. Deku's somewhat deciding. And, well, going for the one that will get him a good power. The unknown isn't really, well, too tempting. It's actually a bit frightening to Deku. If he gets hurt using that quirk, then he doesn't really want it. Now, he would be brought into the room as he would stare at the man. The man strapped down to a table. As Deku would walk over. Everyone somewhat watching. Inko somewhat just looking away as Deku just brings his hand up to the man's face, touching him and actually taking his quirk. As Deku actually does run out of the room afterwards and try and figure things out. The man being restrained again and taken away, since he would be put in plastic cuffs. Or, well, glass, let's say. The only substance he can mimic. In fact, most of his attire that he's wearing on his skin is glass. If he wants to mimic it, be my guest. One wrong move, though, and that will not end pretty. Now, with that being said, Deku would actually begin trying to figure out this quirk. He just took it and it's a bit weird. One of the men actually handing Deku a pen with, well, a golden pen with wood on it. Deku grabbing it and trying to focus on it. As the man would just watch Deku. As Deku's hand does turn into wood, one of his fingers turning a bit golden. Him trying to do this more and more. But that doesn't work, as he does hand it back over, and stare at his hand. Hisashi somewhat telling Deku that it should be okay. You gotta remember, your quirks aren't as, well... Actually, that is a good... All Mights. This might sound like a weird question, but would he get the potential of their quirks, or, well, how strong they are now? Hmm. Well, that is an odd one. I want to say he would get, well, somewhat both. If he does get a different quirk, then we're not sure what would happen with it. But also, I believe that things will be different. I want to say that since this quirk is new, his body might need time for it. On the other hand, I want to say that he may not get the full potential of it. He may have to train with it, so that is at least well and good. Hisashi somewhat smiling, and saying that, okay then, well, come on, Midoriya, let's go. And someone just says, and, well, he doesn't say anything, but he thinks about it, saying, let's go get ice cream and go get lunch. As that they do walk out. Now, with that being said, the inmate would be, well, executed. He is on death row after all, and these special precautions were taken because of his quirk. So, with that being said, let us cut over to about 1 to 2 days later. Deku is hanging out with his parents and thinking about this. This is really cool and, well, amazing. He's using this villain's quirk and trying again. Being able to mimic the coffee table and actually get it past his wrist this time. Somewhat going halfway up his arm. And still focusing. As with his other hand, he's able to mimic steel. Or at least stainless steel. Now, with that, while mimicking both of these materials, Inko would somewhat just walk out of the kitchen, setting down a plate and saying that Midoriya needs to eat. Besides, well, please stop using your quirk inside. Unless he's going to stay sitting down, because yesterday he tried to harden his arm to the point of steel, and accidentally crushed up, well, one of the legs of one of our other chairs. So that is a bit bad. Along with that, she's actually asking Midoriya if, well, he's thought about their offer. Deku is someone just thinking that it's a bit nice and all, but he's not really comfortable with taking their quirks. Even then, you're good. You're nice. Inko somewhat just smiling, telling Deku that she doesn't really use her quirk a lot, but it has gotten stronger ever since I've met your father. I believe that, well, I believe that you should take it. You've always been more interested in my quirk than I have. As she would basically just give Deku a hug, saying that this is how it works, right? Deku somewhat just saying yes, as he does actually squeeze his arms, or squeeze Inko, and take away her quirk, as he pulls away from her. Her a bit confused. Is it done? As she does actually begin to move out her arm and try and levitate something. It is not working. Deku actually holding out his arm and levitating the thing she was trying to use. So, that is, well, that's gonna take some getting used to. Her just thinking as she smiles. Deku somewhat just looking a bit sad before he does actually look at his mom, and try and give her a smile. Now, with that, Hisashi has stepped out. Him actually going to, well, go get something. He wants to get Deku a special gift, since he's going to be this prodigy and all, with his quirk. However, there is a different reason. The building beginning to actually somewhat shift and move. As on the news, it would be found that All Might is defending against a villain. The villain is unknown, but he is very, very strong. He is actually pushing All Might back. The two are battling on this location, and they are very close to residential areas. All civilians are advised to stay inside. Now, outside, this is how the conversation would go. All Might just yelling at All For One that he's not going to allow him to take another person's quirk. He has taken too many already, along with the life of his master. He will avenge Nana Shimura. All For One just telling All Might that that will sadly never happen. Now, I do believe I have a quirk to attend to. As he would rush forwards, at high speeds, coming in and actually socking All Might upwards. Him actually creating a giant arm, and immediately coming up smashing it down, wrapping All Might around with chains and telekinesis, as he does actually try and begin to pull him apart. All Might being able to break through these as more heroes arrive. All For One basically just bashing them away and taking their quirks in the process. Beginning to use them against All Might. One quirk in particular. A bone quirk. That will be interesting. All Might, All For One enlarging his hand. Rushing at All Might as All Might actually does throw out his arm. All Might somewhat smashing All For One across the face and breaking part of his skull. Now, with that being said, this is whenever he would immediately just stab in All Might's side and tear his arm outwards, giving him a massive injury. Or at least, well, not as deep as in canon, since he barely hit some of All Might's organs. Even then, he has definitely lost one of his kidneys, and possibly one of his lungs. While the damage to his face, it should be fine. One of his regeneration quirks are already attending to the process. But still, he needs to attend to this. All For One somewhat just shaking off his head, feeling odd. That punch was hard, but he should be fine, but this pain's lingering. As he begins to walk into the house. Now, this is whenever Hisashi he would somewhat get back, as All For One has already bashed open the door and walking in to greet Midoriya. As soon as that happens, Hisashi he would have grabbed All For One from behind and try and pull him out of the room, at least making sure that this looks good. All For One basically just bringing out his, making the bone claw in his arm and stabbing it backwards in Hisashi's arm. As he grabs him, swings him over his back and smashes him into the ground, and then proceeding to throw him into the next door neighbor's apartment. This actually being too much. The clone being heavily injured, passing out in the process. Inko someone just burning up her hands, thinking that she can use her quirk to at least try, not realizing that she already gave it away, so she is powerless in the scenario. Deku just doing one thing, trying to turn his hands into steel and run forwards, thinking that he at least needs to try and be a hero. Him actually being to hit an Awful One's leg. Awful One just staying there unaffected. As he just brings his hand up and smashes it down into the back of Deku's neck. Then holding out his other hand and secreting a mist, it covering the room. As Inko passes out, Awful One grabbing Deku and throwing him over his shoulder. As he does open a portal. All Might nearly running into the apartment in time, seeing Awful One with his boy carried over his shoulder. Halfway through the portal already. All Might going to rush forwards. As soon as he does so, this is whenever he would actually feel something fall. A, well, large amount of blood. And in fact, he's actually puking it now. As he would have gone smashing into the wall and straight through it. A bit injured. Breathing in this, well, gas was not good either. He's on the verge of passing out. But the neighbor would have at least been able to call 911 after hearing the commotion next door and seeing the villain. So All Might should be okay. Them trying to at least help out. Now, with that being said, this is whenever, well, actually, yeah, I do believe that that's a good part to leave off on. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next parts. And after I upload this, I'm going to have to edit part 1 to villain, since I did have different ideas for the origin story.